Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the channel, and a little bit under the weather here. It's probably if I'm getting, like, sniffing a lot, probably got some allergies, stuff like that. But, a little bit under the weather, but I still want to talk about some news. So let's get to some NFL. A lot of news today around out of the NFL. And, we got some news, a lot of news. So the first thing I want to talk about is Dan Quinn, ladies and gentlemen. So, the Washington Commanders have hired Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn to be their next head coach. Washington keeps making interesting choices with their hires at head coach. Remember, Ron Rivera failed, and I just don't know about Dan Quinn as a head coach, man. I just don't think he's a good head coach. I mean, it could be a good hire, but I just think it's a questionable decision as of now until we see how the Commanders do with Dan Quinn. I just don't think it's a good hire right now, as of now. He only has good defensive schemes against bad teams. Our defense does not exist against good teams or playoff teams, to be honest. So I'm kind of glad he left because he'd always choke for us. Just bad personnel. As well on the field, like we have safeties playing linebacker. It felt like good riddance and terrible hire for a head coach. I think because I think what Commanders fans are just done with the team letting them down. You probably thought things would change. You thought you could get a good head coach, but they settled for Dan Quinn. But all the good young offensive coaches, and they chose to stay put or picked other locations. So the Commanders chose a defensive retreat that feels somewhat DOA, especially considering the likelihood they will be drafting a young, talented quarterback with the second pick. Like, you would think you want a young offensive mind when you're most likely drafting a quarterback at number 2, and you go out there and get Dan Quinn. So, we have some news regarding Chip Kelly, UCLA head coach. Chip Kelly as a potential candidate for #Commanders offensive coordinator job under new head coach Dan Quinn, per sources. Kelly, a two-time NFL head coach, is believed to have interest in returning to the league, and Washington will consider talking with him. So, Chip Kelly is a potential candidate for that offensive coordinator job with Coach Quinn. They might have him. Eric Bieniemy, I just don't think he's him, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, Sam Howell threw for 4K yards, but like he makes your quarterback throw like 40 times a game. And I understand with Patrick Mahomes, but Sam Howell with the turnover problems, I wouldn't make him throw like 35, 40 times a game, and he's just not that good. His offense was pretty horrid this year. I know Sam Howell threw a lot of yards, but he never runs the ball. Sam was getting killed and still throwing 45 times a game. It's kind of ridiculous. So I think Chip Kelly would be a better offensive coordinator than Eric Bieniemy, because at least he'd actually run the football. So I think it could be a good hire if they want to hire him. They're going to consider talking to him. The Raiders are expected to hire former Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator, per league sources. I feel that's a pretty solid hire, because I think, like I said, I've said this about Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's a good offensive coordinator, not a good head coach. So I think he'll be a good offensive coordinator for that team. Will it affect Devontae Adams? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But I think it's an exceptional hire. Antonio Pierce, they've made the full-time coach. They've got Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator. But last bit of his Cardinals run wasn't good, but I think he could be at least an above-average offensive coordinator for the Raiders. So, a replacement for Raheem Morris. Rams are promoting their pass rush coordinator and linebackers coach Chris Shula to defensive coordinator, per league sources. Miami want to interview him for its defensive coordinator job. I mean, who could the Dolphins get as their defensive coordinator now? Campanelli might be a sleeper. Frazier's still on deck. Brandon Staley. Jesus Christ. I think it's a good move, though. Because the Rams, their defense is going to get better. But they were supposed to be in a rebuild and make the playoffs. Their defense is going to get better and better. So ESPN studio success continues. The conference championship Sunday postseason countdown got 1,330,000 viewers from noon to 3 p.m. and then NFL primetime hit 1 million viewers. Those freaking shows been doing pretty good, man. The NFL and ESPN like postseason countdown and then NFL primetime. Ravens officially named Zach Orr as their new defensive coordinator as the replacement for no Seahawks head coach Mike McDonald. Man, the Ravens are just a freaking defensive factory. He was a great former linebacker. In case you guys are wondering, Zach Orr is. His career was short by injury. He's only 31. Would still be playing. He made the team I drafted and went on becoming All-Pro. He was the linebackers coach, I believe, for a couple years. And now he's their new defensive coordinator. So, now the updated NFL Now completed head coaching cycle. Commanders with Dan Quinn, Seahawks with Mike McDonald, Falcons Raheem Morris, Panthers Dave Canales, Chargers Jim Harbaugh, Titans Brian Callahan, Raiders Antonio Pearson, Patriots with Jerome Mayo. Man, Commanders really went from Rivera to Dan Quinn. Pendale face. But coaches that didn't land a job this cycle: Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, Mike Vrabel, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson. I mean, I think putting Ben Johnson at least is misleading. I don't know what they're going to do with what team or what Mike Vrabel's going to do next. I'm kind of shocked he didn't get hired. I'm really shocked. But with what Dan Quinn and new GM Adam Peters now have to work with, 5 picks in the top 100 and 9 picks overall in this draft, and over $70 million cap space. But replacing him with Dan Quinn's hilarious. So, new coordinator in Green Bay, Boston College coach Jeff Hafley is expected to become the new defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. Hafley has brought BC to bowl eligibility in 3 of his 4 years, which I think is a really good hire. Great defensive coordinator at Ohio State, had the best pass defense in college football when he was at Ohio State. Boston College did a good job with them. And the Packers officially named Boston College coach Jeff Hafley as their new defensive coordinator. That's kind of a hire out of nowhere, but I think he's going to be really good, because Boston College defense has been low-key been solid last few years. The Panthers named former Chiefs executive Brant Tillis as their new executive vice president of football operations. I think this is a perfect hire for him. The only way now is to go up. That's all from Shefty. The Raiders were one of those teams. A source with one team who interviewed Dan Quinn this cycle and said Chip Kelly was considered by Quinn. So the Raiders apparently were one of those teams. See if I find some more news here. The Patriots are hiring Alex Van Pelt as their new offensive coordinator, per sources. A former NFL quarterback and longtime respected assistant, Van Pelt spent the past 4 seasons as the Browns' offensive coordinator. Now he fills a big spot on Jerome Mayo's staff in New England. That's a good hire, to be honest. If you can make it to the playoffs with like 84-year-old Joe Flacco, then he can do what any QB Pats can get. Good to see that Mayo's getting an experienced offensive coordinator around the offense, because this is an experienced offensive coordinator. So now their coaches are coaches. Special teams coordinator is Jeremy Springer, defensive coordinator DeMarcus Covington, and offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt. So 3 good coaches there for the Patriots. Let's see about some more news here. Anything else from Schefter, or I mean from Rappaport? Doesn't look like it. So now we'll get to Dove. Yeah, 49ers Brock Purdy's officially signed a national endorsement deal with Toyota. It'll be the company's first deal with an active NFL player since becoming the official NFL vehicle sponsor in October. And all that cash coming in now for Purdy. Probably paying him more than the 49ers are right now. So, Chiefs wide receiver Kadarius Toney participated in the team's practice today. Oh boy, we're gonna see Kadarius Toney in the Super Bowl. Just watch. Just use him for special teams, I guess. So, end quote, we're not trading AJ Brown. We haven't looked into it. We haven't discussed it. We are not trading him. You can print that. Hashtag Eagles team source to Albright NFL. This was said in regard to the Twitter trade rumors about AJ Brown. I don't think the Eagles would trade him. You're not going to look into that. You're keeping your number one receiver. I mean, I don't see why they would trade him. So, Purdy report, before Dan Quinn was hired, Bill Belichick was being considered for the Commanders' head coaching job, but they ended up going to Dan Quinn. Man, this is the worst hire of the offseason. Imagine, I mean, yeah, Bill Belichick hasn't been the best the last few years, I get that, but come on, he should be a head coach over Dan Quinn. I mean, just being honest. So, Purdy report, remember I talked about last night with Robert Saleh, or it was either last night or the night before, Robert Saleh reportedly threatened to take coaches' phones to identify who's leaking info to the media. Well, Purdy report, Jets offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett was described as lacking in quote, attention to detail by multiple coaches and players per The Athletic. No way, who would have thought recycling the same coaches don't work? So I guess Sean Payton was right about Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, yeah, he lost to him, but the point still stands. So the Titans are expected to hire Ravens DB's coach Denard Wilson as their next defensive coordinator. That's a really good hire by the Tennessee Titans. Man, the Ravens staff just getting completely picked apart. So, Greg Olsen basically still says he wants to call top NFL games despite Tom Brady taking over his broadcasting spot on Fox Sports. I mean, he can replace Tony Romo, honestly. He's way better than fucking Tony Romo. So, we'll see what he does, and I'm interested to see how Tom Brady does in the booth, and I'm interested to see where Greg Olsen goes if he doesn't continue at Fox Sports. Christian McCaffrey, 49ers running back, has just joined the Madden NFL 99 club. Should have been all season. I'm glad he finally is. So, Cam Newton, he said that Brock Purdy is the 10th best player in the 49ers. I've never said that Brock Purdy is trash. What did I say? What I did say was that Brock Purdy's a game manager. I ain't recanting shit. Guess Cam's standing on business. Standing on business with this take. Okay, Cam Newton. That one year you choked in the damn Super Bowl, I'm not sure you're one to talk. Just saying. It does surprise me. Cam Newton's just trash now with his fucking takes. The Raiders have hired former Bengals head coach Marvin Lewis as their assistant head coach. Ah, yes. Great move. So, the hashtag Cowboys are interviewing former Commanders head coach Ron Rivera for their defense coordinator vacancy next week. Oh, Lord. Man, we don't want Ron Rivera. We don't want no damn Ron Rivera. Get the fuck out of here. And the Commanders are expected to hire Cowboys defensive pass game coordinator Joe Witt Jr. as their new, I think it's new, or assistant coach, or defensive pass game coordinator, so their new defensive coordinator or whatever. So he's going to basically be an assistant. And Cowboys really losing some people on their staff. So yeah, it's pretty much all to say for this video, so until next time, peace.